My question is something related to my background.
The way the whole environment is set up, sometimes one will talk of God, sometimes one will talk of the farishta, sometimes one will simply talk of dhyan, somebody will talk of something else, somebody will talk of nature worship. If the thing that corrupts religion can be removed,
There's still a lot of deep conditioning about, some of the reflex affirmations, if I may say, like inshallah, mashallah, or doing something and saying bismillah.
the purpose is to bring everything to its hollow state. A hollow state where the thing does not become an obstruction against what it was supposed to convey. The pipe, the vehicle, the vessel is supposed to convey the truth, not obstruct the truth.
Namaskar, Acharya ji. Hope and pray you're doing well and recovering. My name is Nama Khan, and my question is something related to my background. So I will put forth my question along with my background journey. My question is, can habitual religious affirmation, though deeply conditioned, still serve my spiritual growth, my self realization path, or is it necessary to let them go? My journey has been from being observed to becoming the observer. Very early in my life, in my late teens, because I belong from the Muslim community, I became a student. And I think that the sole reason was for proving my purpose, finding my being. I think that was the search as a seeker. So in Bombay, I used to hunt for different groups, that's how I was in getting knowledge for religion. In 20s, my 20s went in basically becoming a student of the Arabic language, learning the Quran by word, English and Urdu. Then in 30s, I came to Canada, and I began the journey of questioning, actually, because due to certain things that happened in my life, I started questioning and then unlearning and then relearning through basically Indian culture. So I had a lot of the famous gurus of India's come into my life. I learned through them a lot. And then you came in. And by this time, I would say that most of my religious practice, even the fact that, the tasbees that we do, the bead reading, the supplication, all that had gone probably in my 30s. Okay. Even being very regular in namaz was nearly gone. It was mostly like, as you're between family or, culture and Eid or something like that. I do go and I do be part of it, but there's still a lot of deep conditioning about, some of the reflex affirmations, if I may say, like inshallah, mashallah, or doing something and saying bismillah. Bismillah means with the name of God. And then like when I was doing yoga practice also, some of the chantings, even the like om shanti, or as Ashtavakar says, sukhi bhava, shanti bhava, like you are sukhi, you are shanti. So because I'm habitual of moving my lips and saying, yes, they do come in my mind too, but because I'm habitual of reading and saying something, they also became part of my everyday chanting. So if I am a little restless, I would go in my mind, Om Shanti. And I can tell you that I would really relax. It really helps me soothe. For me to public speaking, I was somebody who's always stayed at home. I have never done a 9 to 5 job also. So coming from that, being in home, and then coming out and seeking my passion, I'm an artist by profession. I'm a videographer. I'm an acrylic painter now. I also learned classical singing. I did everything that, as you say, that the Vedas start by looking outward. So everything that I needed to look outward, which I had hold myself from, I did all of that. And slowly, I streamlined and filtered and came down to something that is very sublime, and it is in tune to me becoming more of the observer than being the observed. Because all of my life, I have been doing things thinking, oh, I'll get the appraisal of people, or even appraisal of God, actually. And all of these things dropped one by one, one by one. But this particular thing is still there every day in my self realization that inshallah, mashallah, bismillah, or even sometimes there are some duas that come out just because they're so innate, and I do, it does help. So I want to know whether I should continue it or they will slowly drop off, or is there a way to drop them off?
There is there's no need to drop these things. Please understand, um, the purpose of all instruments of religion, methods of religion, is to unblock. The truth is here, there, inside, outside, everywhere. But there is a blockage. That blockage is called the ego. The ego prevents the truth from coming to itself. No? So religion is a device, a tool, so that truth can flow to the ego. The ego wants to defend itself against the truth because once the truth flows in, it dissolves the ego. It's a great solvent. So there are different kinds of, what do I say, conveyors or pipes, carriers through which the truth can flow. The problem is that they get choked, blocked. They were supposed to flow freely and bring that flow to the ego. But the vessel, the pipe itself gets choked. What does it get choked by? It gets choked by things that are not really religion, but pass off in the name of religion. Several of those things get a lot of credibility, acceptability, because they are mentioned in the religious books themselves. And what we fail to understand often, or refuse to understand, is that the religious books contain two kinds of material always. One is the material that is dependent on place, time, situation, etc. And then there is material that is timeless. Timeless and of eternal value and immeasurable value. Every religious book contains these two types of things. So there is already the possibility of pollution and corruption present inside the fundamental religious text itself, especially in religions of the book, all the Abrahamic streams that are heavily dependent on one particular book. And if the books themselves have a lot of stuff that is time relevant or time dependent, then there is a risk. On top of that are the practitioners of religion who have their own biases and own fears and own practices and traditions that they want to carry on with religious sanction, as if those things are mentioned in the text. You can have your own local tradition that you start calling as religion. Now that tradition is nowhere near the core of religion, but yet because you are practicing it, you give it a respectable name. You say this is a religious practice. It's not just a traditional thing, it's a religious practice. So all these things choke the pipe. Now tell me please, if the pipe can be cleared, if all that which blocks it can be removed, does the color of the pipe matter? Let the pipe remain. And pipes come in different colors, shapes, sizes, materials also. As long as they are hollow, everything is all right. The purpose of the pipe is to be hollow. If a pipe is coming from China, it will be made of a certain material, which is fine. You understand material, right? Language, the way the whole environment is set up. Sometimes one will talk of God, sometimes one will talk of the farishta, sometimes one will simply talk of dhyan, somebody will talk of something else, somebody will talk of nature worship. All these things, so they are just the material of the pipe. If the thing that corrupts religion can be removed, the color of the pipe does not matter. The material of the pipe does not matter. What has been etched on the pipe or a certain calligraphy, even these things do not matter. A lot of things can be there. It will all be the same. No? You can have a duct of one particular color and one particular material, and you can have a duct of another color, another material. They will bring in the same thing. But the stuff that chokes is what makes the pipes different from each other, and that is what leads to conflict. Somebody says God, somebody says Allah, somebody says Ram. If they are coming from a point of inner vacuum, inner void, inner clarity, that is, internally what they mean, all three of them, is exactly the same thing. But if they are not coming from a point of inner clarity, these three mean three different things, and then they will quarrel. The problem is the self-appointed meaning. The problem is the refusal to see that several parts of religious texts are irrelevant to this age and must be respectfully consigned to museums. That's the problem. Very respectfully. We are not being offensive here. And if you look at the core of all religious texts, first of all, the core is not voluminous. It is therefore something that even the layman can come to without being afraid of the mass. Otherwise, you put a book of 20,000 pages in front of the fellow. He anyway does not read it. These are the two reasons, why the layman does not go to the religious scripture, and that's why the hegemony of the priest, the Maulvi, the Pandit. One language, two volume. Sanskrit, Arabic, Hebrew, Aramaic. You have all kinds of languages that the common man does not know. And secondly, the volume. The Puranic literature, for example, contains 5 lakh verses. Rigved alone is 10,000 mantras. And the common man, all that he reads is WhatsApp. Yeah. And anything beyond 2 sentences is an essay for him. Why will he ever go and read 10,000 verses from the Rig Veda? And we are talking of only one Ved here. And then Sanskrit. So the priest becomes the intermediary. He says, I will tell you. Mujhe sab pata hai. And then all kinds of distortions get amplified, further amplified. The core message is very brief, precise. There is nothing much in it. Today is the day of Guru Nanak Dev. So precisely, for example, he said, Ek Onkar, Ek Onkar. Everything is contained in it. You don't have to go to any priest. Full stop. Full stop. One has to get rid of the nonsense associated with religion. One does not have to get rid of religiousness. Religiousness or essential spirituality is what keeps us alive as human beings. Otherwise, we will just be animals with intellect. We are obviously not talking of religious morality here. We are talking of the essential spiritual value of self exploration. That's what the essence of all religion is. And that self exploration, it can happen in any name. The name does not matter. So if you say inshallah or bismillah, please do continue. That's wonderful. It happens with me very involuntarily. I don't even know. And those who remain around me, they notice it very frequently. I just keep saying Hey Ram for no reason. I'm tired, I'll say Hey Ram. Happy Hey Ram. About to sleep Hey Ram. Wake up Hey Ram.
Yeah, it becomes a part of you. And it's fine as long as it lets you flow in the truth.
Yes, and as long as it reminds me of that one nameless truth. If a particular word or sound or name reminds you of the nameless one, it's wonderful, irrespective of what that word, sound, or name in itself is. What matters is that it is pointing towards the nameless one.
Hmm. Yeah.
As we said, the color of the pipe does not matter.
Oh, yeah.
And there will be pipes. Yes, yes.
Exactly. Some are pipes, and then some are pipes that did not have any connection, but they are connected. Like the Chinese whispers, like you have the Purans and we have the Hadiths. Oh my God, they have done damage, like irreparable damage that they have done, because people don't want to go to the core script anymore now, and they are just satisfied with what they have in the stories and fantasies, as you say. And now that I see this and I observe this, because I question this a lot wherever I can on social media, I'm also trying to, uh, with your permission, hopefully, inshallah, I am trying to. The 113th chapter of the Quran, that Surah Ikhlas, is basically everything that the Quran needs to say. It's a very small chapter, and it's the whole description of Advait that you had done. When I heard that lecture of yours, I was like, this is Surah Ikhlas. How come we don't even translate it this way? So for me, Allah is nothing but Advait.
Tawheed.
Now, hopefully, I can do this, but I'm writing it through Ashravakar Gita and through the Advait translation that you have given. I'm rewriting the translation in my own understanding of the Quran. And it is, and the way I see this now is like, oh my God, Sufis have told this long back and they still say it. Even the Sufis have been distorted a lot, but most of the good Sufis, they have been saying the same thing, that language is just the tool. It's that essence, it's the feeling that you can implore the greater divine within you, right? So for that, you don't have to look outside, but look within. So the whole journey within was supposed to be Islam or your deen and dharam, but we made it the journey outside.
Right. Therefore, my entire approach is not to discard religion or religious terms. My approach is to bring them to their pure meaning. Even terms that are used in popular culture or popular religion in a very, very distorted way, I do not ask people to just quit or drop or refuse to accept or practice. So if you somebody will come and say, I'm fasting today, vrat rakha hai. So I'll want to bring the real meaning of the word vrat or upavas. Similarly, anything, tirth, pilgrimage, the holy dip, jap, tap, sham, dam. These are all words that are prevalent in common religion. The purpose is to bring everything to its hollow state. A hollow state where the thing does not become an obstruction against what it was supposed to convey. The pipe, the vehicle, the vessel is supposed to convey the truth, not obstruct the truth. There can be an entire dictionary of words. We started, in fact, compiling, making such a dictionary where we said we'll have all these spiritual or religious terms and write their real meaning so that they can never be used out of place or context. The project got shelved.
Amazing. That would be amazing, I think.
Yeah. So, but then the texts we are currently dealing with, the bhajans of Saint Kabir, Baba Bulle Shah. We have the two Gitas, Bhagavad Gita, Ashtavakra Gita, and the Bodh Shunyata Saptati, and of course Lao Tzu. So they give us an ample supply of terms every session, hmm, to present the real meaning of that we are already doing. There are those who want to take the approach of discarding religion altogether. I find that dangerous. They say if religion has been the cause of so much strife and ignorance and superstition and exploitation, why not drop religion altogether? Many think that religion is a thing of the past. They think of it as some kind of a social thing, or a thing of thought that came in a particular time and age. And as mankind progresses, religion will be altogether dropped. And what kind of morality will be there? They say, morality of humanity. What they do not understand is that religion is way beyond morality. So
Yeah, the same thing is with ex-Muslims also. There is a lot of rise of ex-Muslims, and people first thought that I was an ex-Muslim, but I said no, I'm not an atheist. I still am very spiritual because, but even when I was dropping the ideas, if I was only dropping the ideas of the stories and fantasies,
yeah, yeah.
I went through a lot in terms of self-reflection in Canada. I went through a lot of means. I did a lot of different things. I tried a lot of different things, including psychedelics, and that only led me to going more inward. And when it led me to go more inward, I became cautious, because what happens is when you're going inward, it's also a place where you do a lot of psychoanalysis. So, so you might think that you are going a little crazy, and even people around you, when you question a lot, they might think that way. So that's why people like to stay in the safer places, either become completely atheist or become completely blind believers.
Right.
Nobody, it's very difficult for them to stir in the middle path of being the seeker and being the person of balancing in the non-duality, right? So that is the test every day, every moment.
Yes, and it's very easy to be categorized uh, into either of the two extremes. There are the religious people and there are those who shun religion. But to be somebody who wants to bring the real essence of religion into practice, that's very difficult. And if you are that person, then you will get buffeted from both the sides. Both the sides think of you as an outsider. The religious people say, this fellow is discarding all our traditional thought and practices, therefore he is not religious. Let's attack him. And the atheists The modern ones who think that religion must belong to the waste bin, they say, he is still talking the language of religion. So he is one of the regressive ones. Let's attack him. Hmm?
Or he's one of the, like, what ex-Muslims tell me is basically, because I bring new translations. So if you become an ex-Muslim, like, I don't know, ex-Hindus also are there, but then ex-Muslims, they usually go for the translations of the extremists.
Hmm.
They're really not dwelled into the language. They've really not tried to understand where the actual core is coming from. So because they have not gone into their own core, they are bookish. So when you leave the books, when you abandon all of that and you go into you wander into your own psyche and you question and you find different avenues, then you find avenues of really going into your own self truth. Like for me, Iman, meaning this is only after I started hearing you, that for me, Iman means the self truth, being the integrity that you are with yourself. Only if you're true to yourself will you be true to Allah and will you be true to the people around you. So this is Iman for me. So every now and then, wherever I come across a difficult time or a question that I need to answer, even in terms of religion, I reflect on whatever you have said. So actually, people take notice of it. People are like, huh? What is this? We've never heard anything like this. I'm like, yeah, have you ever thought about religion like this? So this is a very refreshing point. Maybe it was there years ago through Sufis but now when you put this thing forward and they're like, when I tell them, see, Shaitan is not somebody with horns. Shaitan is your own ego. And so they're like, what is this like? I'm like, yeah, like try to think about this. So it actually leaves them with a question. They don't have anything to counter this.
And because it is refreshing, they think of it as some kind of modern innovation. They do not understand that it is refreshing because it is as original as the source itself. So if you bring out the real meaning of scriptures, they will say, no, this is not the real meaning. This is a cultivated, artificial, manufactured meaning of your own. If it is your own meaning, then don't pass it off in the name of religion. You'll be accused of that. But that's what the real meaning really is. It's just that over the passage of time and due to the mechanics of the ego, the real meaning was obfuscated with all like lots of random stuff,
Layers and layers of
layers and layers,
that have come, but it is there somewhere. It's only
and
about time of bringing it out.
right.
Once you show the light, then the light of truth or Noor, then people will take notice. At least they start questioning. At least they start thinking somewhere. Like, because they're seeing the state of the
Right.
Ummah. They're seeing the state of the Muslims around. And I see that they are somewhere restless to get a answer.
Right.
And then they find something refreshing coming and they're like, you know what? Because Islamic psychology is now kicking up a lot. Like I have a lot of friends who are psychotherapists and they are dealing with a lot of religious trauma patients. So when this has come up, now people are realizing that, you know what, maybe it was not about physical and material translations. It was something more deeper.
See, it's a dangerous age we are living in. There are people who are turning more and more regressive, as you said, very extreme translations, interpretations of the texts. Sometimes their beliefs have nothing to do with texts at all, but they still carry on with their beliefs. And then there are those who want to totally drop religion. So throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Religion itself is abhorrible. Please drop religion. Please drop religion. That's the attitude. Uh, we do have a fair number of ex-Hindus as well. It's only in Christians that the ones who drop religion come out very openly. So if you go to the developed world, you might find that 10, 20, even 30, 40% of people are formally declaring themselves as atheists. In Great Britain, if I correctly recall, Christians are no more a majority. or they are close to being displaced from the position of majority. The atheists are taking over. In Hindus, what happens is that you subtly become irreligious, because you there is a certain fear against openly declaring yourself to be an atheist. It's not that you will be assaulted, just that it's not very socially acceptable. And also there is a section of Hindus uh, who have been exploited in the past, so they would drop Hinduism and take to Buddhism. Their grievances are real and factual. There has been definite exploitation in the past, but because of that exploitation, they believe that religion itself is nonsense. Now, religion is not nonsense. If you go to the core of religion, you will find everything there that nourishes life. In fact, you cannot carry on with life without being truly religious. Now, when I make this statement, a lot of people get disturbed. They say, we understand when you say religion has something good to offer. But if you say religion is fundamental and indispensable, then we don't agree with you. My request to them always is to not to worry about agreeing with me, but to try to understand what religion really is. You don't really even have to start with religion, you have to start with yourself. Figure out who you are, figure out where all your dissatisfaction and disquiet comes from, and then you will know what religion is. And then you will also know what should not be entertained in the name of religion. 99% of the practices and traditions and beliefs and stories, they belong either to the museum or more correctly to the waste basket. So let them be thrown to that place. Uh, Stories, myths, feelings of superiority, feelings of exclusivity, all that is not religion at all. But religion is definitely needed, definitely needed. And in the pure form, the same thing flows through all the pipes, irrespective of the color and the form and the shape and the material of the pipe. There is just no doubt about it. Like flutes made of different materials. Uh, Krishna's flute is such a great symbol, no? You have flutes of bamboo, you also have flutes of metal, you have little flutes that you give to kids, you have large flutes that professionals play, and there must be differences, variations of other kinds also. But the thing is that there is music. Religion is that music. That music cannot come without the pure hollowness. Pure hollowness.
That's
Yeah,
beautiful, Acharya ji.
let's see.
Thank you.
Welcome, most welcome.